Stop. Hey everyone, Coach Wheeler here. I've got a lot of athletes and coaches that ask me about what do I mean when I say we run with our hands on our feet. It's something that I use quite often. And what I mean by that is whatever we do upper body wise affects what happens to us below. And I'm going to get into a couple pictures and maybe a video or two, but I'm going to make this as quick as I can to show what I'm specifically talking about when I'm doing this. So there's two ways, there's two positionings that I want to dig into specifically when I talk about running with our hands on our feet. And the first one is going to be coming out of the blocks. Is going to be your movement. What you do with your hands when those initial first push overall. But I want to talk about those pushes, those second, third, and fourth pushes. If I go to my athletes and say, where was that elbow in 3 out of the blocks, they're going to know what I'm talking about or what I'm asking them. So, and the other one that I'm going to do is going to be just the general movement when you're sprint position up the track. Now, I can get into the hurdle specifics of angle and wrist movement that's happening on top of the hurdle, but I want to shy away from that a little bit. I don't want to dig into that too much. I might make another video on the specificity of each side and each location, so your wrap arm, your free side, your lead leg, and your trail leg. And I might make 4 separate videos on each one of those. So what I want to dig into here is going to be start the first hurdle and what we're doing with our hands and how it's affecting what happens to us below. And then the sprint formation or sprint mechanics as you're coming up the track and what you're doing with your hands and how it's affecting your lower body. And I'll get into a couple pictures first, and we'll start off with the block work. Okay, so this is the first video I've got, or I'm sorry, the first picture that I've got on what I'm talking about running with our hands on our feet. So this is KP Typoke. She was a senior. She just graduated. She was a All-American, second in the nation in the 200 indoors, fifth in the nation outdoors. She ran, I think, 8.29 or 8.30. In finals at nationals on the indoor 60 hurdles. So, but this is the picture that I have that I want to kind of show. Now, a couple things that are really sticking out in this picture is, she's got an unbelievable amount of push, and the reason why she has that push is because of what's happening with the upper body and what she's doing with her hands. But as you can see, we've got ankle to knee, knee to hip, and then everything being relative here, hip to shoulder. So everything is in a straight line and at a 45-degree angle. So, but what's really making this effective in this 45-degree angle, there's two things that she does, and the first one I'm going to talk about has nothing to do with her hands, but her head is in a neutral position, which means that she's not looking up the track with her eyeballs, and her chin is basically level with her chest. So I could she could lay down, and her head and shoulders and hips would all be laying in the same plane, and that's what I mean by a neutral position. It's not too far up, and it's not too far down. That's the first thing that allows her to be able to get that maximum amount of push by keeping her at that 45-degree angle. The other thing that I want to talk about is what I mean specifically about we run with our hands on our feet. She has driven this elbow back as hard and as powerful this way as she can. And the reason why that is important is because it allows this leg to cycle through as big as we possibly can. The idea is to put as much pressure as we possibly can in this pedal here for the longest period of time that we can. And what we do here when we're doing that is gravity is pulling you down to the earth. So we have to overcome inertia. So if she's not pushing with this back elbow as hard as she can, then she's just it'll just come to this point here, and then the leg is just going to rotate through and drop straight down because it eliminates any of the ability. It eliminates her brain telling her that she's going to fall on her face. Okay? But now with this leg extended out, it's going to actually the ankle will actually push back this way underneath her hip here. And then when she rotates this arm that is long through, that's when she's going to get maximum force on touchdown here, and the hips will travel this way over the top of the foot, and that's what we want to have happen. I always tell my athletes, quick is just quick; it's not fast. Big, strong, and powerful is what we want to do. So running with our hands on our feet coming out of the blocks is extremely important. I want big, strong, aggressive moves, and that's going to help to force and push those hips forward. The upper body helps the legs in the pushing motion. If it's short and choppy, the legs are going to be short and choppy. Our legs will follow exactly what our upper body does because it wants to stay in balance. If it's not, then it's going to be out of balance, and the body doesn't naturally respond well to that. So that's the first picture that I've got here that I'm going to show you, and let's see what we've got here. I've got some other things that may interest. Okay, so the next picture that I have is Shakira Richardson and in the sprint coming down the straightaway. And there's something really important that I want to point out in this picture, a couple things. The first thing is we've got the midline of her body here, and her hand is not crossing in front. So it's eliminating any of the over-rotation that would happen. Now, with that being said, look how far out her hand is here. The body for a really good sprinter there's a rotation of the spinal cord with the shoulders and with the hips. The hips undulate up and down and side to side, and the shoulders will rotate side to side as well. And I want to just kind of show you this picture because a really good sprinter, what we like to call is head over foot, and the outside of the hand is allowing that shoulder to be fluid and flexible to maintain balance and to maintain power. And I kind of wanted to show that in this picture here. And I've got another one that I'm going to point out for you. Okay, so the next one I have is going to be this young lady right here. She's getting ready to start out of the blocks. Mute this. And as you can see, and I've got it slowed down just a little bit with her hand carriage of running with our hands on our feet. Look at how she's crossing in front of her body when she's starting. Okay, and that is keeping her further away from the hurdle than she needs to be. So if her hand drive is straight up and down, she is going to be able to push and get to that hurdle quicker. So again, let's watch her right here, and she crosses the midline of the body with her hands, and when she's doing this, that is forcing her from side to side up the track. Look at where her foot plant is. It's in the outside lanes, and it keeps her away from the hurdle, and I want her to be up on top of that hurdle as quickly as she possibly can. So let's just do this. So as you can see, and I'm kind of keeping it slow here, she crosses in front of her body here, and her foot plant is to the outside. So again, we run with our hands on our feet. and she should be much closer to that first hurdle, and she's running side to side, and we want everything to be linear, straight up and down, and she's not doing that. So that's another demonstration of what happens, especially when coming out of the blocks, if we're crossing that midline of your body with your hands. That's extremely important. Alright, let's move on to the next one. So now I've got this really short video that I want to show you here, but this is what I'm talking about when straight up and down. Run with our hands on our feet. Those arms are straight up and down. They're not looking up the track. They're holding that attack angle. But what I really want you to see is watch Usain Bolt's head. See how it rotates on top of the foot? And that is occurring because there is an undulation with the spinal cord and the shoulders and the hips. And let me back it up just a little bit here so you guys can watch it more in full speed and you can really get an indication of what I'm talking about. But again, watch his hands never cross in front of his body. They're all right alongside. But look at his head bob back and forth. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so there you have it. There's videos and what I'm talking about when I talk to my athletes about running with our hands on our feet. Now I will go into another video about the spinal cord and that movement of the hip and the shoulders and how the flexibility of that works, the flexibility of the spinal cord works and how that moves back and forth and side to side. It's really important to have that flexibility. And I'll talk about the flexibility and the weight work that you would do to increase that flexibility and strength. And you know, well, the majority of that is coming from the glute and the hamstring, and then the shoulder and the spine erectors. Those are the different muscle groups that are going to be activated in there. A little bit of the quadricep as well. So I'll make another video of that down the line here to talk more specifically about what I look for in a really good sprinter. But that's kind of the video on running with our hands on our feet, and I hope that helps some people out. Again, if you have any questions or comments, hit the comment section down below. That'd be great. Don't forget to like and subscribe because that helps me get this information out to different people. And I'm looking forward to making the next video out for you guys, and I will be talking to you soon.